Hey everybody, glad to have you with us on today's show. Let's get this thing started today. You might be wondering what in the world happened last night, right? You might be thinking that. Exactly that. And if you can hear me, make sure you throw something out there in the chat box. Let me know, yeah, we can hear you. Things are good. And we're just glad you be a part of the show. So I'm monitoring this a little different today, shooting it in a little different place. Yep, you can hear me because I can hear me. Hey, glad to have you on the show today. My name's Dean Renfro. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the politics, just a little bit. You might have thought that's what the show was going to be about, but it's not. It's going to be about leadership. It's going to be about leadership because what you saw happen, if you went to bed last night thinking, okay, I don't know really what's going to happen, and you woke up this morning with the chicken question of what in the world happened last night, I'm going to explain it to you because it's very simple. It's a leadership issue. And when you understand leadership, when you understand what happens in leadership, you'll understand what happened and why the establishment, why the pundits, why the Blues Brothers, why the established media woke up, last night were just fumbling all over themselves because they couldn't figure out how did this happen? How did this happen? Well, I'm going to tell you how it happened. So if you're just joining me on the show today, be sure to click on notifications up there and follow me every time I come on. Or if you're a regular and you're here, you can just type in the chat box below here in the comments section below this video and let me know you're here. Let me know where you're from. If you've got a question you want to ask, comment you want to make, just go ahead and do that. If you're catching me on the replay, you can do that as well, and we'll respond. It'll just be a part of the show here today. So glad you're here with us today. We're going to be talking about some real important issues. So if it's your first time, welcome. If this is your 100th time, welcome. Again, my name's Dean Renfro. I work with small business owners. I have my own businesses. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I'm an author, a best-selling author. Look, folks, I want to tell you about what happened last night and why people are so befuddled. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you 3 things later on here when we talk about what happened, what laws got broke, what laws got ignored. Well, they're really pretty simple about what happened, and people don't understand. They don't get it. They don't get it, and they're like, what in the world's going on with these things today? Well, I'm going to explain that to you. You see, there's a principle. It happens to people all the time. It happens to people all the time about things and perception. People oftentimes laugh about the fact that perception is reality. Okay, perception is reality. Well, and for many people, that is true. Perception is reality, and as I talked about in a former show, and you might want to go look that up, and I'll put the link later in the show here in the feed. But I talked about the 8 things that people in America have been addicted to. I'm 60 years old, and for 50 years, people have been taught and told these 8 things, and people have become addicted to those things, a big part of America. Well, at least that's what everybody thought, and at least that's what everybody hoped for. But see, they violated a principle. I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. They have violated a principle and a universal leadership law that cost some people the election, cost the people the presidential race. It's cost them their family. It's going to cost them their country. It's going to cost them their freedom because they had ignored this simple principle that's enacted every day, if you know what it is. Because you see, real leaders lead. Real leaders lead, and real leaders know how this works. But people that ignore this and turn away from it or act like it doesn't exist or hope it doesn't happen, they get slapped by it. That's right. They get slapped by it, and when it slaps, depending on the investment that you've made in ignoring it, it can hurt you. It can hurt you really bad. Matter of fact, it can cost you a lot. Well, that's happened in this presidential race. Let me explain it to you like this. If you were to zoom out of the earth and you were to get up in space and you were to look down at the world on a clear day and you were to take a picture of the earth, you would look down there and you would immediately see this big white space up in the northern part of the hemisphere, just to the northeast of the United States. It's a place called Greenland, right? And it looks huge from outer space, right? It looks huge. And when you take a look at that, you'd say, man, that is big. That's a big spot of land. Exactly. And at the same time, you would also see other countries around the world, other continents around the world, and you'd also see Australia in that same picture. And it's going to be down there on the bottom corner, right corner of that picture of the globe, right? Which do you suppose, when you think people look at a map and they look at that, matter of fact, if you want to go look that up right now, just go right ahead. I would have normally put that on the screen today, but I wanted to have this conversation with you, eyeball to eyeball, right here in my living room, and just have a conversation with you. Because when you look at that picture, you know what you're going to immediately assume by looking at the picture? Because perception is reality to many people. Which do you think is bigger, Greenland or Australia? Matter of fact, you can type that in the box right here, and I'll wait for you to do that. Which do you think is bigger, Australia or Greenland? Greenland or Australia? When you look at the map, you see what I'm saying. I mean, Greenland looks huge. Which one do you think it is? Wait for some folks to type the answer. It's okay if you do like most people. I did it when I first looked at it. I didn't realize what I was seeing when I looked at it. And what do you think people are going to answer? So if you're on here, you catch it on the replay. Which do you think is bigger, Greenland or Australia? Greenland or Australia? Because perception says, and the view says, and the observation says, and the 30,000 foot, in this case, several thousand mile view says that Greenland is way larger than Australia. Greenland is way larger than Australia. But in reality, Titus is exactly right. Australia is larger than Greenland. But in the view, in the big picture, when you back up and you get this big picture, what you have happen is there's an illusion there that you didn't count on. Because the further you get away from that, and the closer that the sphere has the position of Iceland, the bigger it looks. But in reality is Australia is way bigger than Greenland. You know why? Because when you put the flat rule, when you apply the principle, when you apply the rule, the measurements measure out. Well, you see, that's what happened in this whole presidential race. Matter of fact, I saw the liberal media last night talk about this as they tried to figure out what happened. And they unknowingly said what really happened in trying to defend their position about what happened and make excuses for what happened and, blame the uneducated white guy for turning the country back, 100 years, 150 years, or however many years they want to claim we're going to go back now. Reality is what happened in reality is this principle took over. Because what really happened here is that all these people, the Blues Brothers, the establishment, Republican establishment, and the liberal media, they had this 30,000 foot view or the 10,000 mile view right there. They're trying to look at this globally. They're trying to look at it globally. Okay? Donald Trump is a leader. Donald Trump understands this principle. Okay? He understands the principle. And he applied the principle. That's why he could win with no political machine. Okay? That's why he could win with his own money. That's why he could win saying what he needed to say. That's why he could win going where he wanted to go and doing it how he wanted to do it. Because he understands leadership principles. So there's these three principles that got involved in this thing that everybody missed, which immediately tells you that these people don't understand leadership. They don't understand leadership. And so this whole thing got missed because they missed this principle. And guess what? This morning they woke up and they're looking at the chicken going, what happened last night? What happened last night? How did we miss this? Oh, man, we missed this big time. I mean, they didn't miss it a little bit. They missed it big time. Their states went red that they were sure were going to be blue. I mean, they were like we can check that one off, and we can check that one off, and then we can check that one off. And Things are going to be fine. We're not going to have a problem there. And they lost those stakes. She lost big because they ignored this principle. They ignored this principle. So let me tell you a little bit about how those principles work. One of my mentors, and one of my main mentors, is a man named John Maxwell. He is a worldwide leadership guru expert. He has written more literature, more writing, more discussion on leadership than any person in the world. Any person in the world. He knows more about leadership than anybody else. And he put a work together called the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And then when he revised it just a few years ago, he added a couple more laws. And here's one of the laws that those people missed. Here's one of those principles what they missed. What do you suppose that principle might be? You know, if some of you that follow along with me and follow along with John, what do you suppose one of the principles were that these people missed? Think about the globe thing. See, there's the principle of the picture. It's the principle of the picture. See, while these people were trying to turn this thing into a global picture, and they were trying to make the thing big, and they were standing back going, we got a handle on this, and we know what's best. Donald was walking around shaking people's hands all these places. You see, the one big question that the people were asking, talking about on the news is, how does this self-made billionaire identify with the common class working person? And they're like, we don't get it. We don't get it. We don't get it. See, that's supposed to be the Blues Brothers position. They're supposed to understand the heartbeat of the common man, the working man, the person that's under the load of all the laws and all the prejudices and sexism and racism and all. They're supposed to be the heart and understanding of the people. They totally missed it. They totally should. Matter of fact, the mayor of Baltimore was saying, we don't understand how this lost. We're going to have to go home and figure this out. Hey, James, glad to have you with us, my friend. Appreciate you being on the show today. We're talking about 3 leadership principles that cost Hillary Clinton the presidential election. It's going to cost a lot of people, and it's costing people all the time. See, I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here to talk about leadership. Because let me tell you this same principle, when you miss just these three, there's 23 of them. If you miss just these 3, you can lose your family. Look across America today. Divorce is above 50%. They miss these principles. They miss these principles. Economy is in the tank because people miss these principles. Businesses are going broke because we miss these principles. See, the reality is when you understand these principles, you're a leader. And a leader gets the heartbeat of the people. From the very beginning, a leader knows how to bring vision to people, knows how to bring real hope to people, knows how to reach out and connect with people because they understand the principle of the picture. See, the other folks are still sitting around this morning trying to concoct how all in the world is happening. It's really simple, folks. It's really simple. It's the same principle that why people will say that Greenland is bigger than Australia is because it's a matter of perception, understanding the real picture and not removing yourself from your constituents. See, Donald went to the constituents. Donald got out there and shook hands and met people, and they identified with him. And it's talked about everywhere. That's one of the things that the liberals are starting to understand is this guy got out there, and people identified with him. And they're scratching their head. It's not supposed to work that way. The rich are supposed to be hated by the working person. Let me tell you something. When you can connect with people, when you get the picture, when you can understand the conversation that's going on in the mind of people and you can communicate to them, they will know, like, and trust you. Now, let me ask you something, folks. suppose people know, like, and now trust Donald Trump? You may hate his guts. I don't know. I was reading people this morning talking about the fact that they could never call this man the president of the United States. That's fine. You go somewhere where they don't have a president. But the man is a brilliant leader. And they didn't calculate that. See, they saw Donald Trump as this wild card, fly off the handle kind of person. No, he understands leadership, folks. He connected with the questions going on in the mind of his constituency. He knew what they needed to hear. He knew where their hurts were. He knew where their pain was. See, that's what a leader does when they understand the principle, the law of the picture. The law of the picture. So here's what happens. Here's what happens. He goes and he exactly paints the picture, while Hillary is over here painting some other kind of picture. See, he understood that what happened was going on in the mind of people. And if you're in business, I want to tell you this right now, you need to understand this is what's going on in the mind of your client, your customer. If you're losing clients and customers or not getting clients and customers, it's because you don't understand the questions that are going on in the mind of people. If you're losing your family, whether you're a mom or a dad, it's because you don't understand the conversation going on in their minds. You're not meeting them where they are. See, you can be a billionaire and meet a person that makes $30,000 and they'll like you. You can also be a billionaire and meet people who make $30,000 and they hate your guts because you don't understand the question that's going on in the mind of the person that you're in contact with. See, Donald knew how to do that. He understood the principle, the law of the picture. He understood the law of the picture. And that's a real important concept that we're talking about. The second thing that Donald understood, and you're joining with us on the replay today and you want to type in comments or let me know you're here or want to respond or add something to the show, go right ahead and do that. I appreciate you doing that. But these principles is what cost the election. But these principles will cost you your family. These principles will cost you as a person. It'll cost you your life if you don't understand these principles. Not only that, it'll cost you your company, cost you your church, your ministry, your organization, if you don't understand these principles. So here's a little bit about that principle. Okay, it is the law of the picture. The second one that Donald understood was the law of influence. He understood the law of influence. You see, you can only gain connection to the people that you can influence. Donald understood that. Donald knew that would work. You have to understand that in your business. Leadership's all about influence. It's all about the ability to influence people, to make a decision. How do you do that? You give people what they want, what they're looking for, what they perceive as hope. Not what you want as hope. You see, why the Democrats missed it, why business missed it, why family misses it, why people miss it with other people is because we're too busy trying to give them what we want them to have, not what they want. See, people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. And too many businesses are trying to go around here and sell people what they need. Too many families are operated on, here's what we need, not what we want. Now, again, I understand there's got to be a balance there. But when you understand the law of influence, like Donald Trump understands the law of influence, then you can get masses of people. You can win by a landslide when everybody else tells you they're not going to win. You can't win because you understand the law of influence. You know what moves people to respond. And it's quite obvious that it moved people to respond. It moved sectors of people in America to respond in places where they thought, hey, people aren't going to vote for him. They hate him. What happened? See, the influence is measured in the results. You can say what you want about Donald Trump. You can say what you think you know about Donald Trump. You can say all these manner of things. But folks, here's the deal. The man understands leadership. They understand leadership. People are trying to say he doesn't understand this and he doesn't understand that and he doesn't know this and he understands leadership. That's why real leaders understood what was going on. That's why people in business and people in the military and people all across our country who had any sense of how life works and what's supposed to work knew a leader when they saw it, even if they don't like. See, leaders aren't worried about, do you like me? See, I can help you get done what you want to get done in life. Doesn't mean you have to like me. Donald understands that principle, but he also understands the principle of influence, that he can move people by helping them go the directions they want to go instead of trying to tell you, you can't go that way, you got to go this way. No, you can't have that, you got to have this. See, he understood that. You have to understand that in your business. Let me understand how that works in a family. Same kind of thing. You have to understand influence. You have to understand influence in your family. If you're going to have a relationship and keep a marriage alive and working in today's world, you better understand how you and your spouse influence each other, how you influence your kids, or the whole thing will blow up. There's too much stacked against you. See, because for 50 years, people, your spouse, your kids, your parents, have all been being taught to be addicted, okay, to these substances that are out there. And it literally tears a family apart. It tears a business apart. It tears an economy apart. It nearly has torn our country apart. Because that substance destroys people. The law of leadership comes along, of influence, the leadership law of influence comes along and says, I know what the people want, and I'm going to help them get what they want. Because if they get what they want, they will go in a direction that will make, here's the words, America great again, my family great again, my job great again, my health insurance great again, my retirement great again, my lifestyle great again. You see, when you understand that as a leader and understand the law of influence, and that you can know what's going on in the minds of the constituents, you can create a landslide and win. You can do that in your business. You can do that in your family. You can do that in your community. You can do that in your church. You can do that everywhere. So that's what we find out in this election is they didn't understand this. The pundits didn't understand it. The news media didn't understand it. The Blues Brothers didn't understand it. The established Republicans don't understand it. Donald Trump understood it. And you as a leader, whether you're just leading yourself or you're leading your family or you're leading your church or your organization or your community or a business or the country, if you violate these rules that we talked about, these principles, then you're going to have a disaster on your hands. It's going to look a lot like last night looked. Dude, what happened last night? They violated some major principles, right? They violated some major leadership principles. That's why you have to look and say the difference, one huge difference is understanding leadership. See, some people think they're a leader because they have a title. See, Donald understood it had nothing to do with the title. Did you notice last night in the acceptance speech from Donald Trump that he actually gave up the podium to one of the people in his group? On the spur, he left the script and invited one of his guys to come over, Mr. Wright, to come over and say something, and the guy was baffled. He's like, okay, wait, this is obviously unscripted. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here. Who does that? Who shares the limelight in the prime moment of victory? Real leaders. See, real leaders multiply. Real leaders build other leaders. Real leaders bring other people along. See, the news media, the pundits, the Blues Brothers, the establishment, they're all trying to say that this whole thing, he's just going to talk about himself. He didn't even talk about himself. Did you notice that? Who did he talk about? He talked about me, talked about you, talked about his team of people. He even brought them into the forum. Why? Because real leaders understand that. You don't get there by yourself. You don't get there by yourself. He understood the law of teamwork. See, a real leader understands that. If you've ever really understood and studied leadership, you will know right now why the man won. If you need help understanding the law of leadership, okay. In other words, if you're looking around, because again, remember, it's in results. If your business is not working, your marriage is not working, your family's not working, your church is not working, your community's not working, your influence is not working, you're not working, it's because you need some help with leaders. See, everybody is a leader. Everything rises and falls with leadership. Your life, your finances, your marriage, your relationships, your business, your community, your church, your ministry, your country, your world rises and falls with leadership. So you don't want to miss this, I'll tell you. Give you the opportunity to raise your leadership. See, one of the other principles, I'll give you a fourth one and a free one. One of the other principles in leadership is the law of the lid. The law of the lid. See, Donald Trump understands the law of the lid. He understands that you can only go so high as the level of leadership that you have developed. It was amazing to see that before it all got to the ends, that thousands of people abandoned. Thousands of people abandoned, waiting on Hillary to come out. Thousands of people abandoned. Do you know that happens in your business? That people will abandon your leadership because you don't understand the law of the lid. People will abandon your community because they don't understand the law of the lid. People will abandon your church and your leadership in a church because you don't understand the law of the lid. See, that's what happened here. Donald understands the law of the lid. That you can only go and take people as high and as far as the lid is on your leadership. Well, we talk about that in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I want to invite you to be a part of a mastermind. That's right, a virtual mastermind where you can join me and other leaders like me and other people like me and other people like you in discussing how do I learn how to live out the principles, the leadership principles, the irrefutable leadership principles that can take me to the next level in life. That can give me influence in that community. That can help me get the big picture and the micro picture. That can help me understand what's going on in the minds of the people around me. That can give me the opportunity to put a team of people around me that can help me be all I can be. How do you learn how to do that? Because you see, leadership can be learned. Well, leaders are born because we're all born. Some people have some natural gifts and talents, but I'll tell you, as John Maxwell says, talent is never enough. You can learn how to do this, and we can help you. As a certified speaker and coach and trainer and consultant for John Maxwell team, I want to invite you to join me. I'll put the link in the stream once it's over. But you can join me virtually. If you live in the Houston area, you can join me physically as I'm leading these different masterminds where we meet together with other leaders and we talk about this principle of leadership. And we design together and create a mastermind that can help you be the leader you can be. So you can be a part of that just simply by clicking on the link and you just come back and watch the show, catch the replay. You might want to pick up on those 3 things. Actually, there were 4 if you caught them, about the laws and principles that got violated in the election. See, and it crushed them. It crushed the Blues Brothers. It crushed the established Republican pundits. It crushed the liberal media. They're scratching their head this morning saying, dude, what happened last night? What happened last night? The reality is that what happened is a real leader stepped in and showed how to lead an election. He will show us how to lead a country. Whatever your position is about Donald Trump, you're going to find out that real leaders lead. Real leaders lead and real leaders multiply. And there will be a movement of leadership come across our country because real leaders lead. Hey, thanks for joining me today. My name's Dean Renfro, and I'd love to have your comments here today. And if you've got something you'd like to share, you can give me a thumbs up with that, or a heart. Or, hey, if this has been helpful to you and you know this would be helpful to somebody else, there's a share button right down there. Just click it and share it with your people in your timeline, your friends, your family, your people in your business. people in your community, people at your church, people in your ministry, people in your organization. Hey, share it with the world. Because I really believe and I really see that what's going to happen out of this revolution is that the leadership lid has just been lifted, folks, in America. And people are going to rise up to a new level of leadership, to take responsibility for their life and for the things going on in their life and the things going on in their community and their family. And no longer are they going to feel like they are have to be addicted to these 8 things that for the past 50 years have basically crippled the average person in America. Actually, it's crippled the economy in America. You're going to find out that those things you can break free of those if you understand the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And I'd like to help you do that, and you can join me in that. So, hey, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate you being a part. We'll be back with you tomorrow, hopefully, and a show tomorrow. We'll be talking about some more of those laws that got broken in the process of this election and why it was such a landslide of a victory for Donald Trump, because leaders lead and real leaders multiply. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Hey, Brenda. Yeah. Hey, Glenda. Yeah, it is live, or was live. I'm almost about to wrap this up. So appreciate you asking that question. Is this live? It was just live. I hadn't cut off the feed yet. You have a question you'd like to ask? You're asking, is it live now, Glenda? You got a question you'd like to ask or comment you'd like to make? You can type that in underneath that's for sure, and I'll be glad to answer it. I can answer it right here on the show as well. So if you got a question, ask that. Wow. Okay. Hey, thank you for being a part then, and glad you like that. Be sure to share it with the people you know, and people around you, people in your family, people in your community, people at your work, people in your business, in your church community. We're glad you came and liked the show today. Just be sure to share it. All right. Hey, folks, again, like I say, appreciate you being here. Hey, Robert Prothero, glad to have you on here today. Appreciate you watching the show. Larry Barker, Patsy Schutte, Randy Bass, Cindy Lewis, James Dwayne, my lovely wife, LaVon Renfro. Titus, glad to have you. Linda Johnson, Glenda Burton, glad to have you. Tracy Adams, appreciate you being here. Melanie Quayles, glad to have you with us on the show. All right. So appreciate you being here today. As we share and kind of what's going on in our country today, folks, I want to encourage you. You can change your world. You can change the world of the people around you, those you love, those that are important to you, by learning how to use the law of leadership in your life. There's 21 irrefutable laws. Actually, there's more than that, but we've narrowed them down to 23 now, irrefutable laws of leadership that you can begin to apply in your life and begin to see. I'm telling you, after one mastermind, you're going to be able to start implementing something. Matter of fact, you can go implement some of the 3 laws I shared here with the 4th bonus law that I shared here today. You can go implement that right now in your world and start making a difference right now in your business. Challenge you to go do that in your business. Go do that in your church. Go do that in your community. Find out what's going on in the mind of someone in your family. See if you can't help them and raise the lid. Use that law. Get the big picture or the micro picture. Use that law. Get the picture of influence. Figure out how do you influence people. See, we talk about that in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I want to invite you to join me in one of these masterminds. It'll be right here, just like this, and I'll share the material. You can follow along in the book. You can ask a question. Hey, Glenda, I'm going to put that in the feed here in just a minute. As soon as the show wraps up, I'll put the link in the feed, so just check it. You can go to that. It's a group. You can look up the John Maxwell 21, Dean Renfro, Dean Renfro 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. In that group, ask to join it, and they'll put you a part of the virtual group. If you're here in the Houston area, if you go over to Meetup and type in John Maxwell 21 Irrefutable Laws, you'll find one of my meetups available, and you can just simply join that group, and Matter of fact, we're organizing those right now, and you can join the group locally and sit down with other leaders here in our community and talk about how leadership can make a difference. If you're a church, a pastor, a community leader, and you'd like me to come speak to your group or organization, I would love the opportunity to do that. I'll do that for free, and come share with you about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour on some of these principles and laws, and help you get encouraged, your people and the community people around you and the leaders in your community or in your church or in your organization, and come speak to them and share some of these principles of how you can change your world, your life, your community with the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Again, glad to have you today. Appreciate you being a part of today's show. Again, go share this. Just click the share button right down there, and we'll be glad that you did that for us. I appreciate it. Just kind of the way that I can get this out there. Join us tomorrow in our Lunch and Learn tomorrow as we talk about more leadership principles of how you and I can change our own lives by understanding the laws of leadership. Again, my name's Dean Renfro. Thanks for being with us. Talk to you later. Have a great, Glenda, I am in the Houston area, okay? I'm in the greater Houston area, and I say that because Houston's so big. If you say Houston, that could be as Katy, that could be Fort Bend County, that could be Montgomery County, that could be Liberty County, that can be a lot of counties around there. 6 counties that touch Harris County, and but I do them all over. So appreciate you asking that question. So just put it out there, folks. We're going to let you be a part of today's show. Thanks for being here and being a part of today's show. So go share this. Yes, Houston, Texas. That's right, exactly. And glad you commented on the show today, and appreciate that, just like Glenda did. If you're catching us on the replay, just like Glenda, you can post questions there. I'll come back and answer them. And other people might chime in as well, but thank you for being a part of the show today. Have a great day, and God bless you, and go be the leader of your life, your family, your community, and your world. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.